When I was young, this book was kind of my biography, and I think a lot of young people, a lot of nihilistic young people, tend to resonate a lot with this piece of art from Dostoevsky that, just like Nietzsche did 1 century ago, they both knew the new wave of the nihilists and the death of God, which is to say the values that we no longer resonate to, and the kind of a hell, like a brave new world of Huxley we're living today. But I want to read you the first 2 chapters from this book and just commenting with you. Hopefully you like it. There's not much to say about a book you can spend your entire life talking about. There's really not much to say about a book that you can talk about for the rest of your life. You just have to, like a good joke, you just have to be there. So hopefully we're gonna go deep into the atmosphere of the book while reading it. I like this more than, hey guys, I just read this book, and what can I say? It's a wonderful book. Existentialism, Kierkegaard, and banal thoughts that don't deserve the book, actually. And I want to give you the music of this book, the atmosphere of it. First of all, who starts the book like this? I'm a sick man. I'm a spiteful man. I'm an unattractive man. Imagine a guy who doesn't even live at the last. Sorry, my English is not my native language, but he doesn't. He doesn't live at the first. How do you say? Wait a second. At the first floor. He's beyond the first floor, the underground. He lives underground. He literally looks up at the person who lives at the first floor, story floor flat, something like that. The balcony, the fourth floor, third, first floor, and then below is this guy. Below the first floor, below the entire fucking building is this guy who has these notes, and he's spiteful, and he starts his confession by saying he is a sick man. The first thing that he says when he starts writing, it's that he is a sick man. He is aware of himself, and to think too much is a disease. He will say it. So let's go back to it. I am a sick man. I'm a spiteful man. I'm an unattractive man. I believe my liver is diseased. However, I know nothing at all about my disease and do not know for certain what ails me. I don't consult a doctor for it and never have, though I have a respect for medicine and doctors. Besides, I'm extremely superstitious, sufficiently so to respect medicine. Anyway, I'm well educated enough not to be superstitious, but I am superstitious. This constant contradiction in himself, that it's like the flower of the nihilism that is at its roots, at the roots of his soul. At the roots of his soul is a nihilism, and the flowers are these contradictions that egomaniac, the petals of egomaniacs. He's so full of himself, and at the same time he has that purity. He's well aware of his own insignificance, but also he considers himself the most important person in the world. He knows exactly when he's a bad guy, when he does a how do you say, a sick, an abomination, a repugnant thing. He is well aware of it because he judges it from the deep purity within his heart. He's tormented by his own standards of purity. This is a man who constantly, wait for it, how do you say, come on. You know, when you have a wound and oh, okay. He constantly scratch his wounds. That's what I want to say. I wanted to say. There goes your fluidity. I'm a fluent speaking English guy. All right, let's go back to it. Where was I? No, I refuse to consult a doctor from spite. That you will probably will not understand. That you probably will not understand. Well, I understand it. Well, I understand it, though. Of course, I can't explain who it is precisely that I'm mortifying in this case by my spite. I'm perfectly well aware that I cannot pay out the doctors by not consulting them. I know better than anyone that by all this I am only injuring myself and no one else. But still, if I don't consult a doctor, it is from spite. My liver is bad. Well, let it get worse. Who says that? Who says that? Besides a masochistic guy who constantly torments himself and gets pleasure from it because in some weird way he just laughs at the injustice of the world, as if the world is responsible to be fair towards you. You have so much importance in your own eyes, and at the root of it is that you don't believe in anything, and at the same time you wish to believe. It's amazing, and it's so complex. You can literally talk about this guy for the rest of your life. His character is of such complexity that it's just fascinating. Because he is that, but also sees that, or at least, if not, if he is not aware of it, he just acts as if involuntarily is aware of it somehow. It's a fascinating character, and only a genius like Dostoevsky could portray it so well. Although I would say he didn't go as much as his literary talent could have gone, because Dostoevsky was concerned of propagating the Christianity by destroying this guy and making him almost ridiculous. Of course, there are people like that, but the real nihilist is not this this anxious buffoon almost. He gives the buffoon vibe of this guy, and it just makes fun of nihilism in some sense, even though he wants to set an alarm that this is a toxic person for society. I think he kind of manipulates the character. I wish he would have write the book without being without his views affecting the work. But it's almost impossible because you're connected to it. But he wants to promote Christianity by the way he describes this kind of thinking, that it's like a cancer. And in many ways it is, but there's also some good parts in being a nihilist that Dostoevsky doesn't explore because he's so concentrated of giving the Christian lecture, so to speak. Okay. Of course, I can't explain who it is precisely. Oh, let it get worse. I have been going on like that for a long time, 20 years. Now I'm 40. I used to be in the government service, but I'm no longer. I was a spiteful official. I was rude and took pleasure in being so. There's also an equalization of Notes from Underground. It's a movie like 2006 or something. Underground. Wait for it. Oh no, it's 1995. Yes, 1995. It's an okay-ish movie. I like the actor. Who was it? Henry Czerny or something like that. I don't know. Czerny. He plays a disturbed individual, and the movie starts of him talking to a webcam. It's a wonderful adaptation, of course, with the American vibe, with the American version that doesn't quite reach the book, but overall it's a wonderful equalization. I have been going on like this for a long time, 20 years. Now I'm 40. I used to be in the government service, but I'm no longer. I was a spiteful official. I was rude and took pleasure in being so. I did not take bribes, you see, so I was bound to find a... Look, let's just analyze this. I was rude and took pleasure in being so. First of all, he's going to say he was lying, he wasn't being rude. But the fact that you think about it, knowing that were not rude, but if you were, in the hypothesis that if you were rude, you're making fun of your rudeness as a way of humiliating yourself because you have the standards of a good person, and you make fun of yourself like in that sad joke, what a small man you are. Look at you, how rude you are. You are nobody. You're such a bad person. Look at you. Look how you behave. But I'm proud of being nobody. He just makes this ridiculous movie. He makes a buffoon of himself, just in a way laughing at the gods that made all this circus. But deep down, he is tormented by this injustice. That's how I feel it. I was a spiteful official. I was rude and took pleasure in being so. I did not take bribes. Whenever he laughs at this misery, he scratches a wound. That's how I feel it. I did not take bribes, you see, so I was bound to find a recompense in that, at least. I had to be rude because I was an honest person. I didn't take bribes, so at least I had to take something. I took pleasure in being rude because I was an honest person and I did not take bribes. I had to do something bad to make it up for being good. A poor jest, but I will not scratch it out. I wrote it thinking it would sound very witty, but now that I have seen myself that I only wanted to show off in a despicable way, I will not scratch it out on purpose. When petitioners, it's such a childish... is a childish nihilist. It's not a real nihilist, all over the book, you can feel that this is a thinking of an almost a buffoon character, an adolescent. It's not the level of a Schopenhauer, It's just such a ridiculous dream of a ridiculous man. Another short story, which is an hymn to humanity, a wonderful story. That short story, I love it more now, but because I was young, I was such. It has such a powerful read in this book. It still has some wonderful passages, but now I'm more detached from it. When petitioners used to come for information to the table at which I sat, I used to grind my teeth at them, and felt intense enjoyment when I succeeded in making anybody unhappy. I almost did succeed. For the most part, they were all timid people. Of course, they were petitioners. But of the uppish ones, there was one officer in particular I could not endure. He simply would not be humble, and clinked his sword in a disgusting way. Who clings his sword in a disgusting way? He was just destroyed by the fact that guy just stood there in the line and just clinked his sword. Just stop it. And for 2 years, he's tormented by that guy who just doesn't stop clinking that damn sword. You imagine the loneliness of this guy, that he makes an event of such a small thing. And I love that. I love that obsession, that passion, even though it's fucked up and pathological, but it's something beautiful in it. I carried on a feud with him for 18 months over that goddamn sword. At last, I got the better of him. He left off clanking it. That happened in my youth, though. But do you know, gentlemen, what was the chief point about my spite? Why, the whole point, the red sting of it, lay in the fact that continually, even in the moment of the acutest spleen, I was inwardly conscious, with shame, that I was not only not a spiteful, but not even an embittered man, that I was simply scaring sparrows at random and amusing myself by it. In another book, he has this line: I say, let the world go to hell, but I shall always have my tea. Wonderful one, isn't it? I might foam at the mouth, but bring me a doll to play with, give me a cup of tea with sugar in it, and maybe I should be appeased. I might even be genuinely touched, though probably I should grind my teeth at myself afterwards and lie awake at night with shame for months after. That was my way. He explains it so well here. Just that continuous overthinking over the previous events in which he was a kind person, and he has this obsession of being an honest person and knows exactly the essence of humankind is dark and miserable, and how dare you to pretend to be kind, and he just continually fights with him to achieve some kind of purity. I would say it touches a little about a confession of a saint who constantly destroys himself, and they both meet in the in the immensity of their ego. Even the saints, that all they want and they pray for modesty, the saints are very egomaniac in many ways. So he's not far, even though he's a nihilist, so to speak. A tormented nihilist, not really a nihilist, more of an agnostic guy. A nihilist and a saint, they have a lot in common in terms of ego. I was lying when I said just now that I was a spiteful official. I was lying from spite. I was lying, amusing myself with the petitioners and with the officer. And in reality, I never could become spiteful. I was conscious every moment in myself of many, very many elements absolutely opposite to that. I felt them positively swarming in me, these opposite elements. I knew that they had been swarming in me all my life and craving some outlet from me, but I would not let them, purposely would not let them come out. They tormented me till I was ashamed. They drove me to convulsions and sickened me at last. How they sickened me. Now, are not you fancying, gentlemen, that I am expressing remorse for something now, that I am asking your forgiveness for something? I'm sure you are fancying that. However, I assure you, I do not care if you are. It's such a childish remark, like that guy who goes on Facebook, I don't care what people think, so you don't think about about me anymore because I don't care. You know what? I don't care what people think, but he obviously cares. He thinks of it. He just falls asleep. He cannot fall asleep because he thinks of it, of the opinions of the other people, and he wants us to know that he doesn't care. So childish. It was not only that. It was not only that I could not become spiteful. I did not know how to become anything. Neither spiteful nor kind. Neither a rascal nor an honest man. Neither a hero nor an insect. Again, the desire of sainthood in a way. I'm unable to be honest and pure. So you are, as a revolt, you want to go on the other side and be a criminal almost, to be just a miserable man. But you can even do that because also there's a voice in you that just keeps you from being a bad person. And you have this remorse for things that you didn't even do but just thought about. Now I am living out my life in my corner, taunting myself with the spiteful and useless consolation that an intelligent man cannot become anything, seriously. An intelligent man cannot become anything seriously. And in a way, that is correct. Because if you think about it, everything we choose to do is an illusion overall. But at the same time, as Tolstoy would say, sacrificing yourself for humanity can be the meaning of life. It doesn't have to be such a grand scale destiny or something like that. I'm a doctor who helps people and this is my destiny. No, you just want to do that. You feel the joy of helping people and that's your road. But at the end, people will always die. They will always suffer. So it's worthless, your contribution to humanity. It's such a pointless thing we do. Everything we choose to do, it's pointless. At the end, there's death and meaningless, most likely. Darkness and death. This is whatever we do, there will only be a grave at the end. It's a zero-sum game, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a wonderful dance like Nietzsche wrote. Make a sonnet from your life. Let us fight against destiny, even though without hope of victory, as Miguel de Unamuno would say. If it is nothingness that awaits us, let us fight against destiny, even though... Let us make an injustice of it. Let us fight against destiny, even though without hope of victory. Wonderful, isn't it? It was not only that I could not become spiteful. I did not know how to become anything, neither spiteful nor kind, neither a rascal nor an honest man, neither a hero nor an insect. Now I am living out my life in my corner, taunting myself with a spiteful and useless consolation that an intelligent man cannot become anything seriously, and it is only the fool who becomes anything. Yes, a man in the 19th century must morally ought to be preeminently a characterless creature, a man of character. An active man is preeminently a limited creature. That is my conviction of 40 years. I'm 40 years old. Oh, okay. No. Be attentive now. I'm 40 years old now. And 40 years is a whole lifetime. It is extreme old age. To live longer than 40 years, it is bad manners, is vulgar and immoral. Who does live beyond 40? Answer that sincerely and honestly. I will tell you who do. Fools and worthless fellows. I tell all old men that to their face, all these venerable old men, all these senior citizens, all these silver-haired and revered seniors, I tell the whole world that to its face. I have a right to say so, for I shall go on living to 60 myself, to 70, to 80. Stay. Let me take breath. He's such a desperate character. He's just anxious and like Nietzsche says, I'm not a man, I'm a dynamite. This guy is a dynamite, but the childish, the mediocre dynamite. I don't see in this guy the real artist, the real nihilist. Dostoevsky could have portrayed a better character in this guy, but that would mean a more fair battle between Christianity and this guy and the values he promotes. It would have been interesting, but even Dostoevsky had his demons. He resonates with some of the thinking that this character has. He writes in some letters that he resonates with him, and it's very, very dangerous road to explore the mind of this guy, of the nihilistic guy. Every person tormented like Dostoevsky, who has such a complex mind, is troubled by and tempted by some ideas that the underground man has. So he needed desperately the Bible and the idea of Jesus. He even says at one point, if science will prove to me that Jesus Christ is not the truth, I will choose Jesus Christ instead of truth. That's how important for him was. He was more important than the truth itself. For him, Jesus Christ was representing so much truth that there was no longer need for the real truth if the hypothesis would be in that way that science somehow proved to him, hey, this is all a lie. Okay, but this lie is worth more to me than any truth you can prove to me. Such a powerful idea. You imagine, no doubt, gentlemen, that I want to amuse you. You are mistaken in that too. I am by no means such a mirthful person as you imagine, or as you may imagine. However, irritated by all this babble, and I feel that you are irritated, you think fit to ask me who I am. Then my answer is, I'm a collegiate assessor. I was in the service that I might have something to eat. The only purpose for him going to a job is to have something to eat. He didn't care about helping other people. But he wants to say this because he knows how it sounds. Just as he knew that you are annoyed by my Bible, I can feel it. He's in constantly... he has this conscience of the other people that reject him. He constantly thinks that other people consider him ridiculous, or are you gonna laugh at me now, gentlemen? But you know what? I don't care about. But he actually cares because he's obsessed with how people perceive him. I'm a collegiate assessor, and I was in the service that I might have something to eat, and solely for that reason. And when last year a distant relative, left me 6,000 rubles in his will, I immediately retired from the service and settled down in my corner. Why does it have to be a corner? Why always like Kafka Metamorphosis? Why just like a bug life in some ways? Like a cockroach. Why? Why the corner? Why not just in my room? It's always the corner. It's always the dark place. It's always the anxious place. Like you feel trapped in the corner. It's not a normal place. It's in my little corner, my anxious corner, like a grave almost. I used to live in this corner before, but now I have settled down in it. My room is wretched, horrid one. My room is a wretched, horrid one in the outskirts of the town. My servant is an old country woman, ill-natured from stupidity, and moreover, there is always a nasty smell about her. I am told that the Petersburg climate is bad for me. You almost feel like, man, just chill the fuck down. Some Bob Marley, just make love to a woman. Just chill. Just chill. You have so much spite in yourself. All you need is a hug. He's a man who was rejected by society and he's deeply wounded. You have to hug him like for 3-4 days, and you have to find him a wife that will domesticate him and clean his wounds. A lot of love. This is a character that needs a lot of love to go through his traumas. A psychologist and a wife. A lot of making love. He needs. My room is a wretched... Oh, I said that. Ill-natured from stupidity, and moreover, there is always a nasty smell about her. I am told that the Petersburg climate is bad for me, and that with my small means, it is very expensive to live in Petersburg. I know all that better than all these sage and experienced chameleons. No, not chameleons. I know that better than all these sage and experienced counselors and monitors. But I am remaining in Petersburg. I'm not going away from Petersburg. I'm not going away because... why? It is absolutely no matter whether I'm going away or not going away. But what can a decent man speak of with most pleasure? Answer: of himself. Well, so I will talk about myself. The second chapter now. Let's just finish here the first chapter, and let me know if you enjoyed this, so I will know if I should continue or not with this style, or you want me to just come here and present yourself the ideas. Or I kind of like this commentary, this live commentary over the text, and you can comment as well when you feel the need, and we have a discussion, a live discussion, kind of a book club, I select the passages that I like from a book, and we're going to comment them together. I want to have the book in the first place, and then our opinions about it. Everywhere I search for stuff from books, there are just the opinions of the guys or girls, and not much material, I kind of want the material read. Just put the author, show some respect for the author, just go deep into his work and just extract. Not like that, like I do it too much, maybe like more of an audiobook commented. But on the long run with this book, the first 2 chapters are absolutely essential. That's why I wanted to go through them in their entirety. But over the long run, I will just select some passages, some essential passages, or passages that I resonate with a lot. But I want to have the book on the first place and our opinions on the second place. Always be guided by the material, not by our own interpretations of the material. To have the material clearly, literally, look, this is it, this is the thing we're interpreting, not, hey guys, I think this book is, no. Why do you think that? Show me the exact passages that made you think that. I think this is more important. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Tell me if you like this, a like would help, and if you want me to continue to do this, you can help me on Patreon, and also leave a comment so I know if you liked it or not. Thank you and goodbye.